Hey everybody, this is Mrmathblog, and this pre-calculus lesson is part 2 on families of graphs. So we did families of graph in the last lesson. This is just to emphasize it more. And this will talk about even and odd functions right here. So board problem 15, complete the graph so that this graph is an odd function. Okay, when it's an odd function, that means it reflects through the origin, you guys. So what you're going to do is just negate these numbers. This would be -1, -1, -3, -3. This would be -4, -2. So when I graph all of those, it would graph something like that. So there is an odd function reflection going through, reflected through the origin right there. Okay, so if it's an even function is going to be when it's reflected over this y-axis right here, this y-axis. So this original guy over here is going to just get flipped over to this side over here, so there would be my even function right there. Okay? Alright, so part 2, families of graphs. We'll go through some definitions here. A parent graph is a basic graph that is transformed to create other members in families of graphs. The transformed graph may appear in different locations, but it will resemble the parent graph. Okay, it might be stretched out a little bit, but it looks just like, maybe a magnifying glass of one or a reflection of one, like this. A reflection flips a graph over a line, and your line is called the axis of symmetry, AOS. Okay, a translation moves the graph vertically or horizontally. All right, so now let's describe how the graphs f of x equals the square root of x and g of x equals the square root of -x minus 1 are related, and then sketch a rough graph. Okay. All right, remember how square root of x is going to be, pretend like I have this y-axis here and this x-axis here. Square root of 0 is 0, so I'd go 0, 0. The square root of 1, x equals 1 is 1, so I'd go 1, 1. The square root of x equals 4 would be 2. So what it's doing is it's making this sideways kind of parabola right here. That's what f of x equals the square root of x is right there. Okay, what this x means is I can't square root a negative number, so that means I have to have x's to be a negative number. So I'm going to only pick x's that are negative, that are on this side over here of the y-axis. So what this does is this negative reflects it over the y-axis, and this -1 translates it down 1 right there. Okay, so as a reflection of the graph of f of x over the y-axis and then translated down 1 unit. Okay, so it's just going to be reflected over, translated down. Okay, can you see it reflected over, translated down? The original would have been starting right here, and it would have went up like this. Okay, a sideways parabola, and this one's just starting here, 1 unit down, and it's going this way right there. Okay, and then connect them up. I had to do that with my finger on my mouse here on my laptop, so that's the best I can do right there. So okay, so same directions, but f of x is x cubed and g of x is x cubed plus 2. Okay, and we're just going to graph them, but we're going to describe them also. Okay, this x cubed plus 2, this just says take this graph and go up plus 2. Okay, so the graph of g of x is f of x moved up by 2. Okay, so instead of going through 0, 0, it's going to go through 0, 2. So it's going to start right there, and I'm going to pretend like that's my origin. Okay, and then so when I go over 1, from here, over 1, and then 1 cubed is 1. Over 2, 2 cubed is 8, so it would go 8 up from that. So this is actually at 2 comma 10 up here. And then this would go over 1, down 1, over 2, down 8 right there. So when you connect all those, that would be the graph of that guy right there. All right, so same directions. Okay, this is a greatest integer function. So this 3 right here just says it's going to be expanded vertically. Looks like I have the answer already there except for the graphic. Vertically by a factor of 3. Okay, so these are like those little stepping stools. So remember those little stepping stools? There's my greatest integer function graph right there.